News at noon.
We had round one early this morning, so are we getting ready for round two of a big storm that has moved through the valley? Live pictures here, I-17 Pioneer Road, where the rain is starting to fall once again.
Yeah, and the first day of fall, of course, bringing a lot of that heavy rainfall all across the valley, but it was the East Valley that saw the most rain, the most flooding. You can see it in some of those images right there.
And in fact, some of that flooding leading to water rescues this morning. Sky Fox over the scene of one in East Mesa, McKellips and Ironwood. A woman stuck in this SUV, and ladder crews had to come out and pluck her out of that car.
And one of our viewers, Shelly Hamilton, sending us this video also from Apache Junction. This is north of McKellips, east of Idaho Road, the base of the Usery Mountain Regional Park. The washes behind homes running, and you can see just how violent that water is.
So team coverage of today's big storm. Linda's in the East Valley. We're in an apartment complex dealing with the aftermath of the storm. Danielle's in Apache Junction in the East Valley as well. Cleanup efforts underway after major flooding.
Yeah, Corey will have more on those storms and what we can expect later today. But first, we begin with Carmen. She is live in Apache Junction where the roof of a gas station has collapsed. Carmen, what are you seeing out there?
Well, what we're seeing here, we're still in shock by what happened to the rooftop of this convenience store here in Mesa. This is near Apache Trail and Signal Butte. Take a look at this. Some heavy rainfall here earlier this morning. It got so heavy on top of this roof that, well, it seems as though the roof just couldn't hold up. So you can see about 2 or 3 panels of this roof completely collapsed off. Sky Fox was over the scene a little bit earlier this morning. Whenever it came tumbling down, it just couldn't hold up any longer. So the convenience store here, they're going to have to tape off the gas pumps here. No one was able to use the gas pumps all day today. Take a look at this back out here live. A little bit of the leakage that's coming down from earlier this morning. Some water still leaking. It's just a dripping, a constant drip still here this morning. No one is going to be able to use these for quite some time until the convenience store can get some repairmen to come out here and fix this whole thing up. But let's talk about the floodwaters that was out here as well this morning. This is what's left of a lot of the puddle that was earlier this morning. The rainwater that had fallen on this street had extended out into the street, into the median, and across the roadway here, just on the other side of the street near Apache Trail, this direction, it extended over to the next convenience store just across the street here. That's how much rainwater fell within this area. Some of it's still receding as it gets a little bit warmer outside, evaporating and then going back and to a lot of the trails that it came from. But Mesa was hit pretty hard this morning. Guys?
All right, Carmen, thank you for that. And how so much water fell in such a short period of time. Here's another example. Look at this. This is a beautiful lake, right? 2 people on kayaks? No, this is a neighborhood, one of those parks designed as a retention area, doing its job this morning. But look how much water is in this retention area. How about that? A couple of kayaks out there. So it did to go ahead and siphon off this water into this area, and they decided to get out and have a little fun with it. Mesa apartment complex dealing with the aftermath of the storm as well.
Yeah, the complex's parking lot flooded this morning, and Fox 10's Linda Williams is live near 96th Street and Balsam Avenue in East Mesa with more. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. Good afternoon. We're right around Ellsworth and Broadway Road, large apartment complex, about 200 units. Waking up this morning about 8 o'clock to this water world. It is a wet mess. It caused all kinds of problems. I'll show you coming back out here, Joe. I'm standing like in the island where you walk into the apartment complex. This is the driveway. Look at how deep this is. You can tell by my boots. Please don't splash me, sir. Thank you. Yeah, he could have really made me a wet mess, but he didn't do that, so we appreciate that. So much water falling, 2 to 3 feet of water in this parking lot. One man telling me he walked out this morning, his car was underwater because water was up to his seat. It dried out a little, he drives down the street, it stalls. So everyone is dealing with issues like that. You see a lot of kids playing in the water in this parking lot. That's because they were warned not to even try to go through the parking lot. It was so flooded to get to the school bus that usually picks them up here on Balsam Avenue. Now, the people couldn't get out of the parking lots. Residents very unhappy. They believe that This stems from construction that was done in the area to the complex, some kind of major renovation that they say would not allow the water to flow into the culvert where it should. So instead it's backing up into their parking lot. They've got a wet mess, and they are very unhappy. One bright note is that none of the water so far has gotten into any of the apartments. So that's the good news. But everyone is definitely keeping an eye to the sky, hoping they don't get more rain out here. Reporting live from East Mesa, I'm Linda Williams, Fox 10 News.
Wow, Linda, what a mess out there. And you can see just how fast that water is still rushing.
Flowing out of there, out of the apartment complex.
Yeah. The big question, of course, on everyone's mind is how long is this rain going to last?
So, Corey, you're saying this may just be the first wave, and there are more to follow.
Get used to it. There's lots more out there, and we'll take a look at the radar right now and see who's getting what. And unfortunately, some of this rain seems to keep running over the same real estate now. Thankfully, just for the sake of the millions who live in the metro area, it's not so heavy here right in town. However, you don't have to get very far north to find some very heavy rainfall. Look how intense it is there. That's just north of Carefree Highway. So Lake Pleasant, Black Canyon City, New River, all of those spots are seeing very intense rainfall. And the rain in the very heart of this thunderstorm cell is falling at the rate of almost 6 inches an hour. Now, not everyone's going to see that much, and of course it's not parked over one particular spot and holding there, or it would put down 6 inches in an hour. But that just shows you how intense this rainfall is. Farther to the east, here you see the rainfall totals that we've seen up in the Snowflake area, 3.5 inches just north of Snowflake, and there you see the nearby rainfall amounts. And then back over to the Black Canyon City, so far almost or 3 or more inches in many of those areas. And then finally over here in the East Valley, look at these numbers. So far we've seen more than 5 in a couple of spots, and certainly 4+ is not uncommon. So we'll take a further look at the radar for the rest of the state and see if it'll ever stop raining in the forecast in a few minutes. Renee?
Yeah, Corey, pretty impressive rainfall out there. Thank you. And we continue our coverage out in Mesa, and that's where one neighborhood saw some major flooding this morning.
So bad that a school bus, you know how big they are, they were stuck at one point. Daniel Miller live, Broadway Road in Signal Butte. School bus, huh?
Yes, a school bus. Who would have thought? They are pretty much high clearance, but even the school bus couldn't get past this. But I do want to show you this, guys, really quick. So this is a retention basin you're seeing right here. This is in the neighborhood. So this is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. But we did speak with so many neighbors out here today, and they were telling us that they have never seen it this high. You can even see kind of the debris line right here lining the rocks. That's how far the water kind of stuck around here in a much different scene on this roadway. As you can see, it's cleared now, covered in mud, but not covered in water anymore. This water was rushing here earlier this morning. Neighbors are still out here. We were out here a little bit earlier, and so many people outside hosing off their driveways, getting all the debris. There's several cars parked on the side of the street here when all of this water came rushing down. People said that it started right around 6 o'clock this morning. They opened their door, could not believe their eyes, as you can imagine, but there are several cars still parked out here along this roadway where you can just see the debris. It's piled up. There's logs, there's garbage. People said they were chasing garbage cans out here because, unfortunately, this morning is garbage day. So all their garbage was out to be picked up by Waste Management out here. And, of course, all those garbage cans came flying down. But as you can imagine, guys, so many neighbors out here this morning, a little shocked when they opened their front door.
Come outside. Well, my mom came outside and she started yelling that my car was like underwater, and so she made me move it. Yeah.
So when you guys opened the front door, I mean, what's your initial
like surprised? Yeah, shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I moved my car, opened the door, and then some water got inside. So it was crazy.
So I had to act pretty quick, I'm
yeah,
assuming,
yeah.
right? And then have you guys ever seen anything like this? I don't know how long you guys have lived here for, or anything?
No, we lived here for like 2 years. No, we haven't seen something like this before.
And a lot of people saying that same exact thing, have never seen anything like this. But as we mentioned, guys, a lot more clear out here, a lot of dirt and debris just left out here on the roadway. A lot of neighbors cleaning up, hosing off their driveways. A lot of them, though, are a little hesitant because, as Linda mentioned, and Corey and everybody else, we have more storms in the forecast. So they're like, should we clean our property? Should we not? Should we wait? But a lot of people out here getting their hands dirty and cleaning up this morning's mess. Guys, back to you.
Danielle, boy, that would be tough if the same area got hit this afternoon. Hopefully, at least spreads the wealth a little bit. This storm does. Thank you for that. After the break, more coverage on the storm that has happened and the storm that is coming. Live report from Mesa again for more of this flooding.
Well, welcome back. We have been tracking this storm all morning for you, and right now we're taking a live look. This is the I-17 at Daisy Mountain. You can see just how much rain is coming down in that part of the valley, and it just continues to soak our roads. And you can see kind of towards those middle lanes there, just the hydroplaning that's going on with even that bus that was driving through.
And, you know, Corey showed us the radar just a short time ago, and there was that huge red section where he said it was coming down at the rate of about 5 inches an hour. That's right in this area, or at least not too far away from it. But the thing is, all this water runs down to the valley. So that's something to keep a heads up on, especially if you're coming up I-17, because if we get too much rain, that water can get onto I-17 as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, that's right. And we continue to track the monsoon all across the valley. One of the hardest hit areas, the East Valley.
A lot of flooding out there. And Brian Webb, 105th Street and University with more on this. Brian.
Well, the water certainly has receded since we've been out here the past few hours. Parts of the streets are even dry. The rest kind of look like a steady stream running through here. 105th Street and University Drive, like you mentioned, looks like it's just about to open. Crews moving some of the barricades out of the way. They've been moving debris out of the road all morning and doing a pretty good job of it as that truck makes his way through that little standing pond. Off to the right, you see some residents here in this house. I don't know if you can quite make it out, but half of their yard gave away. It became a raging river earlier today. They are now trying to shore it up themselves with shovels in their bare hands, moving some of those rocks back into place. And the house next to that, I'm told, was flooded, completely flooded, about a foot deep earlier today. So they're going to be dealing with a mess inside there for quite some time to come. Let me show you Sky Fox over the scene and more flooding in the area. Roads turned into rivers, several cars stuck. A few water rescues we've been telling you about today. But this area where I am, Northeast Mesa up to Apache Junction, seems to be one of the hardest hit. Residents here tell me that it floods here from time to time, but nothing like it did today. There are a couple of retention ponds in the area, just not enough to handle all the water in such a short period of time. And the homeowner on the corner I just told you about, he says he didn't know he was in a floodplain until today.
It just started flooding right away, super flash flood. It came everything out of the park and the state, so everything that was in there, weeds, branches, everything, just started flowing all out towards the street. They lost, because it's garbage day even, so a few of the cans were floating down the road today, and one car did actually get stuck this morning, I saw, so that's when they came out and closed the road, the sheriff's department and all that.
Taking a live look up, this is 105th Street, which was the raging river earlier today. Residents tell me it just tends to come right down off the hills and the mountains and that newer complex right down this street. This is one of the rocks I found in the middle of the street. You know, this one's maybe 25, 30 pounds. Much bigger ones are still scattered throughout much of this area. This family behind me, you can see working hard. They tell me they tried to go to the city to get some sandbags. They tell me the city didn't have any, so they're a little nervous seeing that rain is in the near forecast and they're not quite out of the woods yet. So we'll stay on top of things and bring you another report if and when the rain comes later today. For now, live in Mesa, Brian Webb, Fox 10 News.
Wow, Brian, thank you. Can you imagine how hard that water has to be pushing for that big 25-pound rock to run across the street?
Crazy.
And he's right. There's so much more to come. It is pouring in some spots across Arizona. The rainfall totals are incredible. Anyway, sort out the whole forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Fox 10 AccuWeather forecast with Christy, Corey, and Stephanie all day on the station for today's best country and all-time favorites. 102.5 KNIX.